This is a tour and overview of my 2003 Casita Spirit Deluxe camping trailer. And in the first part of the video, I'll give you an overview of the trailer and its features, and in the second part, I will show you some of the modifications that I've done to it. It's all fiberglass, very lightweight. Got two 30-pound propane tanks here. Storage hatch. This pulls out. You got storage for your sewer dump hose or anything else you want to squeeze in there. Spare tire. Propane water heater. This one also works on electric if you're plugged in, though I've never used that feature. This is the original battery compartment where I moved the battery. Right here is where your cord is to plug into household current. It's got an outside handheld shower, hot and cold water in there. Dump valves for your gray tank and your black tank from the toilet. Outside lights. And next I'll give you an overview of the inside. Screen door, keep the bugs out. Little dinette here. This turns into a single bunk. Nice big table here, dining area. Turns into the master bed. Cabinets, storage. Two burner range here, propane. Kitchen sink, obviously. Central heating, I do use that a lot, like camping in the winter time. Runs off the propane and the battery. Don't have to be plugged in. This is the stock refrigerator. Runs off a 12-volt battery, 110 if you're plugged in, or propane. I have never used it. Never camped anywhere I could plug in. It's not my thing. I like being away from it all. And I got higher priorities than cold food and drinks. Decent sized closet here. That's to keep my internet anonymity. Full bathroom, one of my favorite features. Originally this had a flush toilet, goes into the black tank, and you gotta dump it out when you get full. But I made this composting toilet so I can camp longer without having to move or dump and just be more independent. A window there. You're taking a shower, you open up the window and you turn on your exhaust fan, get all that steam out. And originally this had a sink here in the corner. But I decided to rearrange things when I made the composting toilet. This is like a wall here when you're trying to shower. So the way I do things is all this can get wet, but then you gotta wipe it up, clean it. So I got my shower curtain set up to just drape around here. And none of that gets wet. And I also relocated the shower faucet. Originally it was part of the sink faucet here. Since I got rid of the sink, I got a new faucet, mounted it there. So it gives me a lot more room without that sink there. Not a problem showering anymore. This is the composting toilet I built. It's all PVC board, waterproof, won't rot. Yeah, it's big, but I wanted big capacity and it to be able to take a standard 5-gallon bucket. So guys, you either got to sit down to use this or go in a bottle, dump it in there. This is a urine diverter. Keeps the urine out of the poopy stuff so you don't get really nasty sewage and smells in there. I just throw a trash bag in the bucket. You know, you do your number 2. You throw some sawdust or coconut husk in there. Helps absorb some of the moisture, keeps the smell down. I also put an exhaust fan on this, and I tied the electric into the light because I wanted the switch out of the way. So that fan draws the air through the toilet. Air intake here. And it goes out the original black tank vent out the roof. The urine gets connected, drains into a standard 1-gallon milk jug. And it works well. Saves me a lot of water. And that was part of the goal, being able to camp longer without moving or dumping, be independent. Half of my water usage went down the toilet. This doesn't smell. Works really well. Doesn't really smell even when I don't use the exhaust fan, I've found. It is very high. So I got this little step stool. That's how you do that. More storage space. And now I'll make up the bed so you can see what those look like. Here's the side bed made up. It's where I sleep when I'm camping alone. Very comfortable. When my wife is with me, I use the big bed here. Plenty of room for 2 people. I'm a few inches shorter than 6 foot. My head is on the wall right now, and I got 4 or 5 inches more there. So, plenty of room. Ceiling exhaust fan. And it did originally have an air conditioner, but I never used it. You can only use it if you're plugged in or if you have a generator. But like I said, I never camp anywhere I can plug in. So I removed that to install the solar panels. And next I'll show you modifications I've done to my Casita. First mod is for the 7-way connector to the tow vehicle. I cannot recommend this product enough. It's called the Easy Connector. The old standard 7 ways with those pins, they always get corroded and goofed up. Nobody makes a good one. They always corrode up. We replacing them at least every couple of years, if not every year. This Easy Connector is awesome. No pins, completely flat. It's magnetic. O-rings to seal. This goes in the receptacle you install on your tow vehicle. Boom. Heavy magnet. Pulls it in. There's no fiddling around with it. Waterproof. Nothing to corrode. I've had it in here for 2 or 3 years. Not one problem. Just painted the frame. This is as much as I could practically reach. Even having it up on jacks. Another look at the composting toilet here. Anybody has any questions about how I build it, I'd be happy to answer them. Just send me a message in a chat or a direct message on YouTube. Built this little side box for the sawdust or cocoa husk. Takes a standard toilet seat. Standard 5-gallon bucket. very secure, bolted down to the black tank, which is no longer used. Just sealed that over with some acrylic plastic, caulked it down there. Lid here, put that on the bucket. If I'm moving the camper, traveling, and I don't want to run the fan, nothing will smell. Everything is screened, so flies can't get in here and breed if they want to. So this is the existing vent that went down to the black tank, which is no longer being used, so I tied in that to use it for my exhaust fan. Didn't feel good about not having a T there in case something gets down in here, bugs, whatever. A little condensation can form in here. I didn't want that dripping into the fan or bugs getting into the fan and goofing it up, so I put this T in here. You know, anything that might fall in there I can dump or clean out. But I also put a screen in here. Push that up into the T so nothing can get in there, and I got a screen there on the outlet, on the toilet, and on the air inlet. And again, there used to be a sink here, and I just got some a plastic access panel, and I cut that down to cover the holes, riveted it in there. Ain't the prettiest thing, but it works. It's waterproof. And that's where I relocated the new shower faucet. Originally the water lines went in here to supply the sink, but I rerouted them, kept everything tight, so I actually didn't have to support the water lines at all. They're self-supporting. It's a little longer than they need to be, kind of pressed up into the carpet. Nothing's shaking around. And next I will show you some of the electrical modifications I've been doing, including the solar. Originally, this is where the battery was. Access from the outside. And originally it had an aluminum base where the battery clamped in there, but it was a little higher than this door. So I put this modification in there just to squeeze a battery with slightly bigger dimensions in there, but you can squeeze a Group 27 battery in the stock compartment here. So we're back inside again. There's the main bed, dining area, little access hatch. So this is that old battery compartment from the outside. There's the water heater. So I've relocated the battery inside. It's now a lithium battery instead of a lead acid, so it doesn't need to be vented. And I went through several ideas of where I was going to put it. A lot of people put it back there under the bed, which I considered for a while, but eventually I decided to put it under this bench seat. I'll show you that in a minute. But the first electrical modification I did was to replace the original onboard power converter, it's called. It's the onboard battery charger, and it supplies AC voltage to the camper when you're plugged in. For outlets, one of them's hidden there. Got one down there. And to the AC, which is no longer existing. The old one would not charge a lithium battery, and it was original, so it was time to replace it, even though I didn't have any problems with it. So the guts of it are down there. And it came with a new DC fuse board. Got that from Progressive Dynamics. Progressive Dynamics is the manufacturer. It is, why am I blanking on it? Best Converter. This is where the battery now resides. So for Energy 300 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. It's more than enough room in there for it. I just had to remove the bench. This ended up being the best location for me. One, because it's close to the original power center for those connections. And this space was not very usable for storing stuff because you got the wheel well right there. So for me, I think that was the ideal place for the battery. Originally, I thought I would put all the fuses and switches and things mounted on top of the old battery box, but I soon realized I was not going to have enough room, and I decided to build this new electrical hub right here. Originally what was in that space was just a board like this. Diagonally up against the wall. It was covering some water lines and original electrical wires running along the floor there. So I decided to make that my new electrical hub. But first I'll show you the solar panels on the roof. It was a squeeze, and I had to carefully plan everything and measure. But I got 3 175 watt Renogy rigid solar panels up there. Just enough room to keep the roof vent. It will fully open. And these rails that they're on are actually tiltable brackets. They can be tilted up to a 90-degree angle. One of the challenges in mounting these to the roof was everything's curved. Even where you think it's flat, it's not perfect. And particularly on the front end and the back end, the roof's curving off down that way and that way at these points where I needed to mount them on the front and back. So I ended up shimming it there with a PVC board, and I contoured it to the curves that I needed to make everything level. Something called a file sander. It's like a belt sander, rather than having a 3 or 4 inch rotating belt. It's only got a 1/2 inch wide belt, and that worked out pretty well for me. So I've got a potential total of 525 watts of power there, conditions permitting. And now I'll show you the inside stuff related to that. So the solar power wires come down through the roof here. Routed all the wires in the bathroom so they're not in the living space. And the wires go down there underneath of this bench and into my new solar and electrical hub here. All PVC board, stainless steel hardware. Solar disconnect, battery disconnect. Got a shunt-based battery monitor. Master plans. And here's my Victron MPPT solar charge controller. A lot of people tuck this away somewhere in a cabinet or a closet, and that's understandable. Who wants this big thing sitting here? But I had to do things by the book. And this is the best location I came up with. I can sit there, I'm not hitting my head on it. It's relatively out of the way, but accessible. It's got good heat dissipation, enough clearance, not gonna catch anything on fire. When you're doing electrical, one, do your research and know what you're doing. Don't go by any old YouTube video. And be safe about it. This is electricity we're talking about. It can kill you or burn down your camper. If anybody has any questions about my Casita in general, or the mods I've done, I'd be happy to talk about it. Send me a message in the comments or directly. Or if you happen to live in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area, want to meet another Casita owner, or somebody who's into working on our RV, give me a shout. Maybe we can get together.